Hello students, the topic that we are going to start is flow of fluids. In this, we shall start with the very first subtopic, that is manometer. This video will talk about the introduction to fluids, what they actually are, the science behind the fluids, the application of flow of fluid measurement, followed by the pressure measurement of fluid using manometer. Under manometer, we shall discuss about the basic principle and the types of different manometers. Fluids are the state of matter which continuously and irreversibly change their shape as per the applied shear stress. The fluids include both liquids as well as gases. The science of study of fluid is called fluid mechanics. If we deal with static fluid study, then it is called fluid statics, while the fluid in motion is studied with the science called fluid dynamics. If we look upon the application part of flow of fluids with special reference to pharmaceutical industry, it is generally applied in fermentation process, parenteral sections, transport of fluids and gaseous formulations, the transport and packaging of suspension in semi-solid dosage form. For all that, we must know what pressure is actually being created by that fluid. There are different types of manometers. First subtype is liquid column based manometers. These manometers usually have a liquid column which is the basis of the measurement of pressure. The very first subcategory of liquid column based manometers is simple manometer, which is used to measure the pressure in static fluid by measuring the height of the liquid column. The one arm is actually exposed to atmosphere and the other is attached to the fluid or liquid whose pressure needs to be determined. Mathematically, this pressure difference is actually calculated as delta P, that is difference in pressure, is equal to H, that is the difference in height between the two levels of this liquid column, that is left hand side column and right hand side column, and the difference in density of the two liquids or the fluid, that is rho A and rho B. As shown in the diagram, there are two liquids or fluids, they are liquid A and liquid B. So the difference in the density between them will be considered as rho A minus rho B. Here the second phase can be air. Okay, so that way H is the height, that is difference in the level of the two liquid in left and right hand arm, and rho A minus rho B is the difference in densities of the two liquids, and G is the acceleration due to gravity. The manometer principle can easily be understood with the help of this well illustrated diagram. An open tube manometer has one side open to the atmosphere. The fluid depth must be the same on both the sides as shown in the figure A part, or the pressure on each side exerts at the bottom will be unequal and liquid will flow from the deeper side as shown in the B part of this figure. A positive gauge pressure, that is Pg is equal to H rho g, is transmitted to one side of the manometer which can support a column of fluid height h. Similarly, in figure C, the atmospheric pressure is greater than a negative gauge pressure Pg by an amount, that is H rho g. The jar's rigidity prevents the atmospheric pressure from being transmitted to the P nuts. The second subtype of liquid column based manometers is differential manometer. In contrast to the previous simple manometer, the second liquid, which was earlier, can be a gas or normal air, atmospheric air. We can replace this with another liquid. So by replacing the air with another liquid, now we have two different liquids for the measurement of small differences in the pressure. So this way it becomes quite sensitive. It consists of two transparent, two fluid U-shaped tubes. They are acting as a reservoir, and The liquid in the column will rise or fall till its weight, that is gravity-based force, is in equilibrium with the difference in the pressure across the two sides of the tube, that is fluid pressure-based force. The third subtype, which is liquid column based manometer, is an inclined manometer. The only difference between the simple and inclined manometer is that the second arm, which was quite straight in the case of simple manometer, is now inclined to an angle theta, and accordingly the height that we were taken as h is now replaced with the term x. Here x is nothing but the S, that is slant height, multiplied by the sine theta of this particular angle. So the height will be replaced by the term x, that is equal to S sine theta. So in the previous slide where h rho g was used, we shall be using x rho g, where x will be S sine theta. The second subcategory of the manometers is electrical principle based manometer. First we have discussed about the liquid column based manometers. Second one is the electrical principle based manometers. They are actually used for the measurement of low pressure or high vacuum. This is also called McLeod gauge. Actually, it got its name from its inventor, that is Herbert McLeod, who discovered it in the year 1874. It is applicable for those gases which act obey Boyle's law. That means P1 V1 is equal to P2 V2. So this device actually allows the entrance of a gas sample volume from vacuum chamber. This sample volume is compressed by slantly followed by the filling with mercury. The pressure in this lesser volume is measured by a manometer using the known compression value. So this one is a third subtype of manometers. We have discussed so far about the liquid column based manometers. Second category was McLeod gauge, and the third one is the mechanical element based pressure gauge system. So these systems are actually based upon the deformation or curvature of the elastic sensing elements using a particular property of the system. So this property may be kinematic property, it can be optical property, or it can be electrical property of the system. There are three types of elastic sensing elements. They include Bourdon tubes, as shown in the figure here, where we can apply the pressure and accordingly the deformation will be noted down. The more the pressure we are applying, more deformation will be observed in the Bourdon tube. The second subtype is diaphragms or flat or corrugated diaphragms. So that way, if we apply the pressure, this particular diaphragm will get displaced by its position. This displacement will be actually proportional to how much pressure we are applying. So that way the fluid, if exert more pressure, will be able to displace this diaphragm to a greater extent. If the pressure will be less, the diaphragm will be able to get displaced to a smaller displacement. The third subtype is bellows, which are actually based on the spring system of producing the tension. The more the pressure, the more deformity in the spring system will be observed. That will be quantitated using this bellows.